T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. Episode 654, Trap Talk with Chimera Reptiles. My man Andre back on Trap Talk, and I'm back. Finally taking off after taking 2 weeks off. I had quite the break, I will say. And but anyways, I'm so happy to be back. I'm your boy MJ. What's good, everybody? If this is your first time tapping in, if you're into the reptile industry or into the hobby and you want to learn more about the ins and outs, and this is the place to be, dude. So welcome. Hit the like button. Let's get the likes up right now. Smash that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Select all. You'll be reminded every podcast release out of the Trap Talk Reptile Network 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. Had some days off the last couple weeks. All right. So if anyone out there is on my bumper about like, oh my God, is On the Tree Tuesdays over with? No, dude. Dude, relax. Can I get a break? Is that cool? Feel me? Anyways, we're back full speed. You can listen to any episodes that are released out of the Reptile Network, Trap Talk Reptile Network, on any major audio platforms. Okay, so if you're more on the audio side of things, then just head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all the major audio ones, and you can listen to any of these episodes. And yeah, man, thank you for all the love and support wherever you listen to any episodes. Thank you just for listening. Really means a lot. And shout out to all the other hosts on the other episodes of the day of the week. They're just slaying it and ready to get back to work, man. I'm so excited. But forgot to hit the US ARC video because now I like have this automatic US ARC video to pitch US ARC to all you guys out there. But I forgot to press it. So I'm going to do this right now. Support US ARC. You're looking at a gold member for 4 years running now. I love US ARC. You should love US ARC too if you're in the reptile hobby. So please, if you don't know what US ARC is, just simply click on usarc.org in the description below. And you can become a member as low as $5 a month. You have no idea how much even that little of a membership helps us. Takes us a long ways. These numbers do matter when it comes to battling legislations at these crazy freaking meetings that go down, man. So anyways, protect your rights to keep your animals, please, guys. US ARC. Let's get the numbers up. Thank you so much, by the way, Vanessa from US ARC. She sent me quite the US ARC like gift package, I guess you could say, or things to set up at Trap Fest, which was a huge hit. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for doing that. But yeah, guys, let's go support US ARC today. Shout out to everyone in the chats, man. I do miss a lot of you guys. I was going to take this week off as well because there's a lot going on right now. 70 chondro eggs cooking right here and right there. You feel me? So I'm very excited. But I also love my job, which is doing a podcast 3 days out of the week personally. So I'm back here, okay? And I just want to say shout out to everyone in the chats. If you think that tonight's episode is worth any super chats, drop a super chat, especially if you have a topic, certain piece of conversation you feel like we need to cover on tonight's episode, drop a super chat, all right? Shout out to Dickie Foster, who's in the building. Shout out to my homegirl, my sis Lily, who was actually at Trap Fest with her husband Dan. And I threw Trap Fest on a Friday because of this girl right here. I'm going to keep saying that, Lily, because it's the truth. All right. So shout out to Lily. All right. Trap Talk Patreon member. Shout out to my man Adrian, who had probably one of the best times I've seen any trapper have at Trap Fest. He had a really, really awesome time. Go give him a follow right now, West Coast Reptiles, and go follow his podcast on YouTube. One of the real ones in the game, man. And I support this guy to the fullest. So thank you so much, Adrian. Trap Talk Patreon members, my boy. Joey, what's up, Joey? You got a package coming your way, player. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Shout out to Krista, my other sister who was here the longest. She was the longest trapper here all weekend, man, going into Monday. So thank you so much, Krista, for helping me out and being a part of the Trap Fest festivities. She was definitely going ham for sure. So if you want all the stories of what really happened at Trap Fest, you got to come join the Patreon family. All right, that's all I got to say. Shout out to Krista, that's my girl. Sunday nights, all right, Girls Who Love Reptiles podcast. Especially if you're a female in the game, dude, go girl power, all right? Go to Sunday nights. Go support Krista. She's putting all the heavy women keepers, up-and-coming breeders in the game right now to her episodes on Sunday, all right? She's going to start implementing dudes in those episodes as well now. But anyways, shout out to Krista. Thanks for killing it. My man, JD, Meteoric Serpents, also another podcast that I feel like is worth subscribing to for sure. Not many out there, but this guy right here is one of them. So if you're in the Kluber game and you're trying to get that Kluber itch, you know what I'm saying? Right here, Get Corrupted. My man, JD, Meteoric Serpents. Thank you so much for being here, JD. Patreon member all day, every day. And here he is, big Top G. Villarino Reptiles, Big E. Hey, listen, he was at Trap Fest, wasn't supposed to be. He surprised me, and I was so happy he was here. I had a good time with my big bro, Emilio. Monday nights, new breed on the block, all right, belongs to Emilio and myself, and we come through heavy on some crazy knowledge on Monday nights, all right? So if you're new into the ball python game, I will definitely set a reminder on your calendar to watch these Monday night episodes, okay? Because that's it. The truth is undisputed. It's best information you could get to maneuver and get success in the ball python game. Monday nights, new breed on the block. Shout out to my man, Villarino Reptiles. And go join the V-Unit family on Instagram, all right? One of the best families in the game for sure. Shout out to all my trappers. You guys are my heart. Now, again, before we move forward and get to the sponsors, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you want unreleased merch, like I'm a trapper, new merch, this shit's hard, I'm not gonna lie, but come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Click the very first link in the description below. As soon as you join the Trap Talk Patreon family, sorry, it's been a while, guys, I gotta catch my motor in my mouth, but as soon as you join the Trap Talk Patreon family, you get connected to a Discord, and there's an amazing Instagram group chat that is 24/7 popping. Trappers from all over the world, okay? So thank you so much for all the love and support. Patreon members, you guys are my heart. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, Gary Scavino, GS Reptiles. If you are into the arboreal stuff or want to learn more about it, this is your guy right here, GS Reptiles on YouTube. All right, sending my love and all my best to Gary, who's recovering from surgery. Rooting for you, Gary. Looking to have you come back and killing it with the vlogs like you were. So thank you so much, Gary Scavino. GS Reptiles, go give him a follow on Instagram as well. That's my dog right here, man. And appreciate you, Gary. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Clutch, #1 ball python organization app in the game for sure. By far, look clean, look cutting edge, especially if you're just coming into this, man. Don't get lazy. Stay organized. Stay on top. Stay on top of the competition. Stay ahead of the game with Clutch. All right, and it looks amazing. I see some of your guys' Clutches profiles that just look so pimped out. And I got to say that will matter when it comes to making sales in this game. So thank you so much, Sebastian, Justin, the entire Clutch team. You guys are slaying it, and big things to come from Clutch, and that's a fact. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by my favorite European breeding couple for sure, ball python couple, Prague Morphs, all right, Devin and Teresa over in Prague. So much heat coming from this couple. So make sure you head over to their Instagram, give them a follow. He's posting stuff. I feel like almost every day, Devin is posting some serious heat on his stories. So do not sleep on this this brand right here, Prague Morphs. All right, top shelf ball python projects all day, every day out of Europe. Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you so much, Devin. And last but not least, this episode is brought to you by Sundown Reptiles, my man Brian Susan. If you're getting into tree monitors, Kahua. Shout out to the Chewy game, by the way. Chewy game's blowing up. But gargoyle geckos, Abronia, dude, you need to go check out this man right now. Also high-end level, different species of geckos that you could check out. All from Sundown Reptiles. Go to his website, sundownreptiles.com. Link in the description below. You can find all the links to all my sponsors in the description below. So thank you so much, Brian Susan. Looking forward to having Brian back on the trap. There's a lot to discuss with the Kahuas and where I feel like that game is headed, because I feel like, man, anyone who's getting into the Chewy game, that's a good game to get into. All right, listen. Shout out to all my sponsors. Again, this episode is only possible because of all my sponsors. So I love all my sponsors out there. Check them out in the description below. And again, if you're in the chats, get the likes up, okay? Because why would you be in the chat and not hit the like button? Let's get the likes up, because it is time, all right? No more waiting, all right? I'm back. I'm ready to rock and roll. Do what you got to do to get your mind right. Do what you got to do to stay hydrated, because that's very important. Episode 654, Andre, Chimera Reptiles coming at you right now. Let's go. Jay.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When
And we are live, episode 654. Andre, welcome back to the trap.
What's up? How's it going?
Hey, man, it's going great. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
You were my first episode in like 2 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, Trap Fest looked pretty awesome. That looked fun.
It was awesome. I mean, it's work. Obviously, have you ever thrown a big party for people before?
Yeah.
Right. So it's cool, but then like you almost want it to get over with because, you know, while you have so much fun, you forget about like the stuff you do every day. Here's the thing, man. I could get off track really easily when it comes to having fun. And I wish I could just go to the beach all day and take people and to go look at sea lions and go eat food at like 7 different taco shops. I wish I could be the regular thing, but it's not. But once you get back to reality and you're like, oh my God, I forgot to keep up on this. And so anyway, I'm just like,
yeah, for sure.
It's something that I love doing, but I almost want to just hurry up and get back to like the rhythm of things,
Yeah,
you know,
get caught up and get in the flow.
Yeah, because you know, I do a lot, and it's almost like, you know, it's like working out and then not working out, and it's like, dude, I forgot how much like I did, and like, you know, you got to, you know, just get back to it, you know. Just
for sure.
Don't think about it, just do it, you know.
Yep.
But anyways, I couldn't pick a better person to get things back going because you know, I think I saw you. Well, I think we chatted, but then we actually kind of connected at Bob's show.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, shout out to the Southeast Reptile Expo happening August 9th and 10th. Okay, one of the best shows, dude. Top shelf vendors. Okay, very clean. I didn't see not one bumped table, and I can't just stop raving about how awesome of a time I had at Bob's show. So that's coming up. But yeah, I saw you there. We chatted. Cool to see you there because, you know, you, what year was it? Remind me when you came in, 2017?
I started 2016. I don't know when we did it initially. We did a podcast a while ago.
We talked in like 2019, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, well, no, hold on. I started in 2020. Anyways, yeah, it was like one of the first years or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just couldn't remember when you actually entered the game. And so, anyways, you know, and it's crazy because there's a lot of people when you were on my show that were, you know, a lot of people are around that are no longer around right now. You know, obviously it's kind of like who's going to be leaving next type of era right now, which
for
sure. It's the name of the game. We got a lot of people that came in, right? But how are you holding up, dude? Let's talk about how you are doing things because, you know, I did kind of say on my stories, like I never thought I'd have you back on the show.
Yeah.
And mind you, it was a lot of my doing, but we'll talk to that. But like, I want to know how you're doing right now, man. How are you holding up? Let's talk about it.
I'm doing pretty good. It's been challenges the past year, but I think overall now I'm happier and in the flow, and now I'm ready just to make some awesome snakes and a lot of cool eggs in the incubator. Some stuff starting to hatch now, so just getting excited about all that.
And let's kind of talk about like what year were you like first experiencing like or at least noticing like, damn, it's about to change a little bit right now, and then some of these challenges started happening. When was this?
Let's see. Was it about a year ago? Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. So about a few years, 3 years after COVID, basically.
Yeah.
And was it just the market adjustments, the pricing, sales? Like, can we kind of talk about like what the struggle was for you?
For me, I think we were doing all right. You know, I think it was just going. I think you have to just go with the flow, and you know, if the market's low, you just gotta tough it out and keep working harder. You know, but I don't think it just made the partnership not work as well. You know. So.
Well, yeah, because that's kind of. I mean, I was gonna save it, but no, let's get into it because obviously you started this. Chimera was started by yourself, okay? And then what was the motivation to get a partner? Like what made you think, or sorry, what made you feel like that was going to be something that would make things go to the next level?
At the time, I was having my second kid, so I was thinking like, you know, having somebody else around that could help out with things. You know, having a bigger family makes, you know, everything more complicated. So yeah, that was probably the main reason. And then you could kind of sense like the market slowing a little bit at the time. So I thought just make it a bigger company, at least you're getting maybe not as much money coming in, but more steady sales, the more snakes you have, you know? So it was more along those lines.
Now, production wise, did that kind of stay the same? Did it increase? Like when you got a partner on board, like what was the plan with production? Like you know.
We wanted to increase, but anytime you move snakes, you're not going to like get a lot more production, at least that, you know, right away, you know? So it's kind of like, if you move your snakes, you're going to set back a little bit. So the one plan was, of course, to like keep growing and growing and growing, you know?
Before you had a partner, how many clutches were you producing? Remind me how many clutches.
I had about 50 clutches before we joined up. So
okay, that's a big number. And you know what's crazy? Like I remember back when if this was 5 years ago, hearing 50 clutches wouldn't sound as crazy as it does now. Like hitting 50 clutches was kind of like, that was like my goal at one point. Like I was like, dude, I would love to get at 50, you know? But now I look at it, I'm like, dude, 50 is a lot. Like that's
a lot of
like,
work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's also like, dude, you better know how to move that, you know? So
yeah, for sure.
You know, you could be, you know, a mini Will Morrows all you want, but you can't keep everything. Like you gotta know how to sell stuff. And I feel like where the biggest problem with people in general is like they know stuff should go for a certain amounts, right? But they either won't take anything less, or they're just too ashamed or feel like they shouldn't post it for sale or whatever. But like, how are you delegating like the lower end, not lower end stuff, but like the lower price stuff? Like, are you just going along and pricing whatever it is on morph markets, like no matter what it is you're letting go of? Or like, I'm just wondering how you're adapting to like the pricing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could just, you know, compare it to other things. I think for sure, you know, when you see your snake sitting there for a year, you know it's priced too high, most likely, you know, so you can adapt from there. But, you know, looking what's for sale and even just thinking like that, you don't compare it to something out there that's been sitting a year and it's still priced way too high, you know. I think you could just kind of think about what you would pay for it now, you know.
Yeah, you've been have you utilizing the auctions at all in morph market?
Yeah, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't think every animal is a good fit for it. I think you have to, you know, find the right fits, something that like, you know, appeals to a lot of people. You don't want to put something up there that only one person wants, because then it's not going for anything, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it just, if you have no expectations and you want it to find a home, I think morph market auction is perfect, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're like, God dang, I want to see if I could get like a market valued cost ball python on the auction. I'm not saying it's impossible, because I've been surprised sometimes. Like I've been like, holy shit, did it go that much? And like, it was actually higher than what I had it listed for.
Yeah, it happens sometimes for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a DG Fire OD Het Clown something. It was a nice snake, but like I had it for 600 and it went for like 900 on auction. I was like, I was so happy, you know. But like that's why it's a win-win if you use the auction like that, because if you're like, you're just happy it goes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that how you're using it as well, like in a sense?
Yeah, pretty much. And like, there's more eyes on the auctions because there's less of them. I mean, there's 30,000 ball pythons now on morph market.
Yeah,
and there's probably a couple hundred auctions. So, you know, there's, you know, it's easy to lose, you know, not see every snake on morph market. But when there's a couple hundred auctions, it's easier for people to see it. You know, they might have not even known that snake was out there until you put it on auction. You know.
Yeah, and you know, and some people just like to gamble, bro. Like, I don't know, not really gamble, but like people want,
it's fun.
People want to, and they want a deal. Yeah. Like, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I mean, I got a buddy, Brock, who was on my show not too long ago, who's like, he slays at finding good deals. Like, I'm like, did you really pay that much for that snake? And it's like a red stripe clown, crazy, like insane looking combo. And I'm like, you know, that's why it's really good to be a buyer right now. You know,
nobody that wins an auction is upset. They're always happy. You know,
right? Definitely, and I feel like it's a win-win for the most part.
Yeah.
But I will say, you don't see it as much, and I think maybe because me and Emilio talk about it a lot. But like, you put in like a higher end animal on an auction, how does that sit with you? Like, I'm talking like something that could easily be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. You know?
Yeah. If I would do that, most likely it's not. I wouldn't do that. But if I do, I'll either do a starting bid or a reserve. Right. And usually it just doesn't go for it, you know, because those type of animals people are thinking about, they're not going to just do an impulse purchase on a $5,000 snake, you know?
Yeah.
So most of the time, if you want close to retail, just be patient and most likely to sell, you know?
So as of right now, you know, your production, like goal number wise, clutches is sitting around what in 2025? Like what's a goal for you now?
Hopefully over like 75 I'll be happy with, and you know, between 75 and 100 I'll be really happy.
Dude, that's a lot. And you're solo now, just for the record. Like, you're now on your own, and you're producing more. than you were on your own before you had a partner. So
Correct. Yeah.
And so how's that feel? Like, you feel like you got everything all right, or like let's talk about the volume that you're producing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now I only had 4 clutches hatched so far.
Yeah.
So, but I have like 30 in the incubator, so it's, getting ready to be busy and have a lot of good hatchlings coming out,
So this is like right now, ball python like game, like I said, like earlier to you, like it's not easy to be relevant right now, but if you are, like, dude, you're obviously doing something right. And I feel like it's chess, not checkers right now. So for you, like, what's been working as far as you putting animals up for sale? Because I know it's just not morph market. Like you have to be having other avenues.
Yeah. I mean, morph market's the main way to do it, and then have wholesale people behind the scenes because a lot of the cheaper stuff doesn't sell too well in morph market. Wholesale helps with that. And then, I mean, with morph market, you get a lot of, you get some international sales too, which help a lot too.
Wow. Okay. I was going to say, do you have some international plugs? Like, you got some stuff that you sell either in Europe or like UK or like the Korea or anything like that?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And you met those people via morph market?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody pretty much morph market.
That's awesome. It's crazy because people, like, even I, like, when I first got into this, I can't remember who it was, but I knew that they had like some sort of like wholesale plug in Europe, and I was like, dude, how do you get that? And like, you think you need to like know some special people, but dude, they'll just hit you up. Like, if you're on the right platform, like Morph Market, shout out to Morph Market, dude, you'll get that plug coming to you. You know what I'm saying?
Worldwide. I mean, it works. It's awesome.
And that's been pretty steady, huh? Like, as far as like you're taking care of your people back there, like, are they steadily wanting stuff from you, or how's that work?
I just need to produce more. That's always been the problem, just produce more.
So you don't have an issue getting rid of stuff. I don't want to say get rid of, but like, if it needs to find a home, it work. Whatever system you're running, it works.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Because why else would you be producing 75 clutches? Like, that's
I mean, if you look on Morph Market now, there's 30,000 snakes around.
Yeah.
I mean, during COVID, there was probably 60,000. 50, 60. So
50s, yeah.
So
I think it was 58,000. I don't quote me on that, but it was up there. It was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, my buddy Brock, who I just mentioned, he put a story not too long ago showing like the amount of stores that are now on Morph Market, and it's like, dude, it's like 40, man, like a half of it, like half of it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I was like, holy shit, that shows how many people closed up shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it constantly happens, throughout this, the life of the ball python industry, but it's probably a tougher time now to stay, to keep going. Well, when you started during COVID, it just like the times were so good that, this is normal-ish, before COVID, this is probably similar, so, people that weren't used to like, sitting on animals for a while, instead of posting animals and they sell right away, it's different, but
I definitely remember like not being able to keep up with all the new fucking people I saw coming in, like another name. And I'm like, oh my God. And then like asking if you want to swap stickers. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Like, I just want to breed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But what else do you expect, right? Like, anything that has that much of a fucking spike, it's going to come down, for sure. Somehow. Yeah. But it's good for the hobby. Like, it's, we if they're not meant to be here, they shouldn't be here. That's it.
Yeah. It's a hard business to, do for the long term, keeping the animals happy. You can't just leave them alone for a while. You got to constantly work on them years and years.
People ask me all the time, like, MJ, like, how'd you get where you're at? And I'm like, dude, I just live this shit. Like, you got to really live it. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And for the last 8 years, this has been my life. Like, I haven't had much of a life. I got my wife and I got my family. I love them to death. But dude, if they don't need my attention, or if there's not something that we are doing, I'm in here. That's it. I eat, sleep, and breathe this shit, whatever that fucking saying is. I'm here 24/7, but I'm also like tapping into the community and talking to people, and like, and it's one thing I knew about you was like, dude, you had good connections from the beginning, and you were talking to the right people. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I will say, like, and like I said, I got nothing against the person you were partners with, but like, I was like, I don't know, man. I had a feeling that you were feeling like you were already doing things right on your own. Like, I thought you were like pretty good solo. Because
Yeah.
I will say, for the most part, like I'm not saying in the history of having partnerships, nothing's ever worked out. But let's be real, it for the most part doesn't work out.
Yeah,
Like
very unlikely it's going to work out. Very
big
low
time.
odds. Yeah,
Especially in the animal game, first and foremost.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's not common that you see an ongoing relationship where they're both from the United States, they both breed the same species. Like it's just like one either outdoes the other, or they just don't see eye to eye, or whatever. But like I said, for me, and again, nothing else against the other dude, but I always felt like, dude, Andre, you don't need that. You don't need nobody, dude. Like so, and obviously you realize that, and that's where you are now. But like, do you think people should find a way to work things out on their own? Like, and I'm not saying you're here to say you have regrets, but like, if there's someone out there wondering, like, damn, like my life is about to get busy, I just got a new job, or I'm about to have a kid, should I hit up my sticker swapping friend and see if he wants to collaborate with me, and I'll send him my collection, and he only lives like 20 minutes away from me, like what do you say to somebody like that in that position right now? Like, what do you have to say to that?
A good piece of advice somebody told me was, instead of getting a partner, just hire some help. Yeah. You ever get too busy, just you can pay an employee, you can pay somebody just to come help a little bit. That wasn't my reason. That wasn't too busy, but I think, I wouldn't recommend doing a partnership. I think all of us are in this industry, or at least most of us, because we like, running our own thing. We like having our own vision. We like, doing things by ourselves. We don't like having somebody tell us what to do, or, we're kind of the entrepreneurial people in here. We don't want a boss, we want people to, we want to work by ourselves, kind of thing,
Well, let's look at an artist, right? Does an artist have like a buddy that he's painting with? Like, I'm talking like the artist, like the historic, like, the fucking, the Van Goghs and the fucking historical artists that we have to this day. They don't have a collab partner. Like, they're on their own. And like what we do in a sense is art. Like we have to breed what we see in here and what we want to make. And like, I have to say this, if you're thinking about doing a partnership, like, you got to ask yourself, why are you doing the partnership? Is it because, like you said, you have too much on your plate? Well, if that's the case, figure out how to do it where you can handle it on your own. Like, don't get a partner. Don't get a partner because there's a lot going on as far as fucking overhead and maintenance. Like, you just got to adjust. Right. Yeah. But then also there's people who don't have as good as shit as the other person, but but how does that help that person? You know what I'm saying? And again, like, that's why I don't know, like, you got to really look at the circumstances and see, like, I don't know. This is a long end game, right? Like, don't you agree, Andre? Like, there's no tapping out of the ball python game. Like, you're either in it or you're not in it. Like, there's no,
you gotta be all in.
There's no halfway this, halfway that. There's no like, well, I'll probably do this for the next 3 years. No, fuck no. If you're one of those people who are sitting around thinking, for the next 3 years I'll do this, you're definitely going to be posting your rack for sale on your story.
Yeah,
the next couple of weeks. Your head needs to be fucking 10 years down the road, dude.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because as you know, Andre, you're already going on 10 years being in the game just about.
Yeah.
It goes quick, dude.
For
like,
sure.
Especially when you're having fun. Like, I love this, man. But I don't like getting old, and it's sad. Like, it's I'm realizing, I'm like, dude, 8 years. Let me do the math.
I know, right? It's a lot of time.
40. Yeah, I'm like, I turned 40 next fucking August. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
How old are you? You're my
38.
Age. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so close. Yeah.
I don't know why I never thought I would see 40. Just because I felt like 40 was like old fart,
It seems far away. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you remember like what 40-year-olds were when we were like in the 90s growing up as a kid? Like, they look like grown ass fucking Neanderthals. Like, but now it's like they look a lot younger nowadays. Maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better, but
taking care of ourselves better.
Yeah, it's different nowadays. I try not to look at age as a number, because I've met some fucking gnarly ass cool motherfuckers in this hobby who are like in their 50s. And they're like fucking, they act younger than I do. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I do love this reptile game, but it goes by quick, right? So also, like, where do you think like people like hit the wall with their projects, Andre? Like, because that's one of the things where I felt like that's why people closed up shop, because their projects had no vision. Like, they had no like substance. Like, it was like, what are you breeding that lemon blast for? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So in your eyes, how does somebody like avoid hitting that fucking wall and just stopping things?
I think you got to think years ahead of time. You can't just be like, I'm making this next year and that's what I'm happy with. Yeah, you want to constantly be making stuff years and years and years ahead. That's why you can never give up, because what I'm making now is not the end point. in the incubator right now is not what I'm trying to make. It's going to be, what do I do with that next?
Yeah, and so I mean, and there's even a point where you are continuing to buy snakes from other people because that makes things grow quicker, or are you at a place where you don't really need to buy much right now?
I spent a good amount of money the past year, just trying to expand a little bit more and then just up the game even more. Just kind of have to keep going for it.
Like males, females, both. Like, where were you at?
A little bit of both this year. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't buy much more females, but males, just kind of keep upgrading them. The better male you have, the better clutches you're going to get.
Holdback wise, what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for more males or females?
A little bit of both. I need to have more males for sure for next year. So
yeah,
I want to hopefully make a couple awesome males and keep those.
It's crazy
because the females is just like the default. You got to hold back some awesome ones no matter what,
Right. Like, you need the females, right? Like, I remember getting in, like, it's all about females. And then you get to the point you're like, shit, I need males.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's also like, when you think about the male part, it's like, dude, like, I mean, again, if you want to stay relevant in the game, there's going to be males you need to buy that are like fucking thousands of dollars. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But what's crazy is you can't even rely on that one male, because who says he wants a lady? Who says his thing even works? Like, there's a lot of things you're even up against, and I want to talk to you about that. Like, how do you strategize your male to female ratio? Like, has there been a time where your star male was like not getting the job done, and did you have a backup male, or do you believe in backup males? Let's get to all that.
Yeah, I mean, even this season, I had 2 younger males that weren't breeding at all, so I had to go with a backup, But then they started breeding perfectly, so then they just took over, a bunch of clutches, So like I had a het paint xanthic DG male, which is an interesting male, So I was like, I want to just kind of make some weird stuff with him. And I had a paint female. I was like, that's exactly what I want him to go to, but he just wasn't ready yet. So, but then he took it over after the first lock. He got the second and third lock. So hopefully,
I don't know why. Well, I know why, but I'm glad you said paint. Shout out to paint, man. Lot to come with paint, obviously.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chad Holker. Chad Holker was just at Trap Fest.
Yeah.
That's like when I think of paint, I think of Chad Holker because he's the one.
He has some cool stuff. He's working on the paint puzzle. That should be pretty cool.
He's been tapped into paint for years. Like, he's been a huge believer about paints. But for you, let's talk about where you feel like things are going to be headed for you and your paint projects. I heard Xanthic, right? Did you say Xanthic?
So he's het paint, het Xanthic, het DG. So I put him. She ovulated, which was Xanthic clown. So he went to her, and then he's going. A DG clown's about to ovulate, leopard DG clown. So hopefully, you get a visual Xanthic and a visual DG from both those clutches, and hold back some of that and keep working towards that quad.
They're all going to be POS het paint, correct?
Yeah.
So is paint available on RGI, or is Charlie available? With
I think Charlie has it. I think.
Okay.
So I'll be talking to him for sure.
Have you tested any paint stuff yet?
No, that's the first I bought 2 paint females like 2-3 years ago. And then
From
I
who?
bought him. Rec Room Pythons.
Rec Room Python. I feel like I've heard that name.
They're in North Carolina. They're cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
And
I got a yellow belly paint and a paint, and then I got him from Bob Boo. So
you have visual paint.
Yeah. So
from what you can see in visual paint, is it going to be more friendlier with darker stuff, brighter stuff, both? Like, where's your confidence with it?
The yellow belly looks amazing. Just simple yellow belly paint.
I've seen that.
Really good.
That looks great.
And I've seen like OD and stuff in there. It's going to be cool. I think Xanthic is going to be great. And clown looks really, really cool. I've seen a couple clown paints. So
any hypo stuff, Andre?
Hypo, yeah. Working hypo monsoon DG this year.
All right.
And then hypo clown, mixed with DG, Xanthic, that kind of stuff. So
I don't know what it is. Why I kind of do, but like it's coming out more and more. You got your monsoon lovers and your monsoon not lovers. And it's just like anything else. Like you got your sunset lovers and sunset not lovers. But like for you, monsoon. And I've talked to people who like were very like on the believer side of monsoon, and I don't know what's been happening, but some of them have been falling back, and then other way around. Some people are going all in on monsoon. So
yeah.
With you, when did you start looking at the monsoon project? How long has it been now?
I mean, I've always looked at it. I got Monsoon male like 2 years ago, and then 3 years ago or something like that. And then I have like hypo het Monsoon females. So, and then I have a DG het Monsoon. So hopefully some cool stuff from all that mixed together.
Has anyone made a DG hypo Monsoon yet?
No. Yeah, Jersey Guy Balls made a DG Monsoon. Looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Brett. Brett was here. I'm not trying to rub all these people who were here at Trap
Nice.
but Brett was here too.
He's a cool guy.
So that means you have to come next year, maybe. We need to
I'll
figure
be
it out.
there. I'll be there.
But yeah, dude, fuck, I love hypo so much, man. Mainly because like hypo, there was a time and place, and it was at a Pomona Reptile Super Show. I was looking at, I forgot whose. It wasn't even like a good breeder's table. It was like somebody who had a bunch of everything, right? But
yeah,
they had some DG stuff, and then they had a hypo stuff.
Yeah,
the hypo stuff was priced more than the DG stuff back then.
Yeah,
and I didn't really pick it because of the price. I liked the hypo stuff because just visually you could see a lot more happening with it. And mind you, this is before you could see what DG could do, right? But then right after that, 2018, 2019, DG just fucking took off, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then some of the people like myself who went hypo first almost had some regret not getting DG. But then here we are, 2025, and it makes no sense not to have them together now. Like, you got to have hypo and DG are just like, they're like best friends.
They look good. They look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hypo's great. Everything always balances out at the end. There's, you know, everybody gets excited about a gene, then it fades. You know, you just got to keep working it.
And what's crazy is like, this is one of many examples of genes that we'll find out that go good together, you know, which, you know, we figure out pretty quick, but man, you'd be surprised how many genes are slept on. And then all of a sudden someone's working it and we're like, holy shit, look what it does with hypo or DG or DG like, hypo. Again,
hypo sunset looks really good. You know, it's one of the better ones. Yeah.
Hypo's giving a lot of things legs, man. Like DG, I feel like they should, DG, if it was a person, should thank hypo and be like, thank you so much because you made me a lot more powerful. And definitely Sunset, man, Sunset should think anything that helps it.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I mean, let's say Sunset was the final destination. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah,
I have it. I'm working the hypo sunset puzzle, hypo sunset pieds. Those are the two main things with sunset. And sunset clown pieds, you know. But
shout to Brock Wagner. Was it? No, I think Daytona is when I saw Brock and Winston's hypo sunset combos, and I was like, okay,
they're good.
All right, here we go. And back then, I was like super non-believer of sunset, but after I saw hypo and sunset together, I was like,
for
sunset,
sure,
sunset should think hypo. But then also, dude, you know, he made that ultramel sunset, which was fucking sick.
That was real good.
And I'm seeing that the bright, powerful shit and sunset will go. They'll be best friends, you know.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Yeah, just keep getting better. So
you have sunset in the mix?
Yeah.
And where's that headed? Like incomplete dominant wise, what do you have in the mix?
Nothing incomplete dominant.
All recessive.
Yeah, sunset. I have a breeder sunset like het clown pied male, so he's going to some clown pied stuff. And then like a hypo het sunset pied, just go into some cool pied and hypo pied stuff to make hypo pied het sunsets.
So when do you believe in throwing incomplete dominance in the mix? Because I feel like that's how you separate yourself, right, from any project. So
yeah,
what's your game plan with that?
It just depends on if you make sometimes you just can't find the right one with them, you know. So if I have them, my females, that's a bonus, you know. Like I have some good genes in the pieds that I'll throw into the sunset stuff and the clown pieds.
What's your take on this? Okay, let's say you are trying to get into the monsoon game, right?
Yeah.
And you have the option to buy. First and foremost, you don't have Justin Kabelka money, okay? Like you're trying to be methodical about this. You want to buy the smart way, right? So would you advise somebody to buy 100% hets from a liable or like RGI proven breeder, like, you know, like having something like that? Or if you can afford a visual monsoon and it has spider in it or a fucked up gene that people just don't want nothing to do with, is it worth getting that animal and working that gene out? Or is it worth just working the head-to-head shit and starting from the ground up and not having to worry about plucking stuff out of the mix? What's your take?
It's tough. I mean, there's no wrong answer. I would probably go with a het just because that one bad gene might haunt you and give you bad odds, you know, and ruin the future stuff, you know.
And dude, when you say haunt, like it's a real thing, and it's not the worst thing, but you know how many times people get the visual they're looking for, but goddamn, it's a super pastel, or it's like a fucking, and it's like, dude.
And then everybody tells you like only if that was not that. And you're like, well, it is, you know.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I have for sure made. I mean, and I don't have no regret, but like my first DG clown combos had pastel and fire in it. And I was kind of like, oh, but they turned out to be really beautiful, and they're aging well. So I'm not complaining. But then the year before that, I made a Mardi Gras. Or okay, no, what I made some sort of a highway clown combo. Yeah. And it had lesser in it. But it actually looks pretty cool with lesser. Sure. But like, you know, I'm just thinking about what people are thinking. Like, like you said, oh, I bet it would be better without lesser or pastel or something, right? So like that's why, and mind you, like when you're really pushing for a project, dude, that gene might linger on forever, and you're just like always like worrying about it. And then when you finally, let's say you get a 6-egg clutch, and only one of those eggs hit the double visual, but it has the fucking gene you don't want, you know,
you can't hold that back anymore or something. You know?
It's like, damn it, you know what I mean? And of course, people like, I get it, but like, you know, this is. So what I was getting at is finally this year I have shit that I want to make that doesn't have pastel in the mix. Yeah. Well, not all of it, but and I'm like, you know, fucking cool. You know what I mean? But mind you, like I also just bought stuff because I was like, you know, it was less money because it had pastel. But I didn't know back then. Like I wasn't really put on game until about 2-3 years ago from Mark Bailey when Mark Bailey sold me and Matt Summers a Wookiee clown. Mine was cheaper by like a few $100 because it had butter in it. And I was confused because the snake came to me and I'm like, hey Matt, your snake's here. And I'm like, why the fuck? And I was like, damn, Mark, like, do you not like Matt? Like, why'd you charge him more? And then he's like, well, because he was like, no, I was like, that's what I had on Morph Market. I was like, that's because it has butter. And I'm like, dude, who gives a fuck? This thing looks sick. Like, even with butter, the snake looks stunning. But because of that gene, like technically, like that Wookiee with no butter was value moored. And so, you know, just stuff that I didn't know that was a thing, you know what I mean? Until Mark Bailey put me on. And so that's why it's also careful, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was 2018 or 19. I bought a pastel DG clown from Levance, and I wanted the pastel because it looked so good, you know, at the time, it's like, that's the best looking snake there is, you know? And then I made killer DG clowns, and that, you know, that's what happens, you know?
Yeah. So your line of DG came primarily from Levance or
Levance and Fireball, both of them. Yeah.
I would say for sure, man, my first love of DG came from Straight Fire's production. Yeah. I will say, I mean, like I already knew about DG, but like what made me regret not having DG was following Straight Fire Reptiles and Levance and Wesley. And then they sent me my first DG. I got into the game because of Levance and Wesley.
Nice.
And man, and then they're male. So they gave me, I got a visual DG from them, and then I got a leopard clown 100% het DG. And this guy, he must have sired over 10 clutches for me. Like,
nice.
And the quality of like all his clutches, just they speak through the clutches, you know. And I will say, like, I do agree that like this line stuff is important to really consider. Like, and that's not against any other DG lines out there, but dude, like there are some nicer DG lines out there than other DG lines.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're gonna spend that kind of money, you should do the homework on the lines out there.
Yeah. Straight Fire knows what's up.
Straight Fire knows what's up. I love, and Mark Bailey's DG line also. Like I would say, like those are, and I'm just saying based off what I'm seeing visually, like, you know, you obviously have nice DG stuff. You've hatched it out. You know what you're looking at. Like it's just something in that animal, right? Like it's like, dude, for sure. Like, God damn, you look so clean. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love DG, bro. Is there anything that you're not working as much anymore? Like that your feelings have changed a little bit and kind of going a different direction with any project?
I'm trying to think.
Lavender?
I don't think so.
You ever do
lavender? I've backed away from lavender, like dreamsicles, but I've focused the lavenders towards puzzles because I think that's a cool, like, kind of untapped route with it.
Shout out to Elijah Armis. You know Juggernaut Reptiles?
Yeah.
Okay. So he produced some really cool looking dreamsicles or something like that. I don't know. Like I at first I was like, dude, what are you gonna do with that project? You can only do so much. But like, you know, there are seeing some insane looking kind of different ones. I guess it's whatever your taste is.
Yeah.
But
He made some cool albino bloods that just
albino.
awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Albino pied bloods. That's what I meant. They're cool.
But the cool thing that I'm happy about is like the fact that I'm seeing more lavender stuff makes me happy that like not any project could really be like left for dead for good. You know, like if someone really is working something and they produce something sick, it's going to bring that project to light. You know, and really it all depends on that person. So I love seeing the lavender stuff come back. Or even any kind of albino combo, because you know albino brought me. That's a morph that brought me in is the albino stuff. But then as you really tap into some projects, you never see Justin post albino shit, you know, like hardly ever. And so, but that's why I feel like there are many genes out there that people should consider working that aren't being worked. I mean,
people love albino. It's like just an amazing looking snake, you know, especially for a pet, you know.
But isn't that the name of the game? You would say, Andre, is like, you know, it's okay to work stuff that isn't really popular or like it's sought after. But if you like it, like there's room for opportunity right there, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think like the albinism genes kind of hide a lot of genes, you know, so it's hard to get certain things in them. But once you realize that like NG just is amazing and all of that, you know, you could just find the route with that, you know, find that perfect gene in there.
What's your take on Tornado? Did you hear about Tornado?
Yeah, I like it.
Tell me about it.
It's from UK, right? It's D and Joe or something.
Right. And it's already here now, right? I think Jeremy Bod has it, right?
Yeah, he hatched it out of some stuff. I think maybe Justin has some too.
Yep. Shout out to Jeremy.
It's pretty awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a banded granite thing. It's recessive. I don't know. It's really cool.
Is there
for sure?
Is there anything like on that level of being like untapped or new that you have going on in your collection? Like any?
Nothing like that. No, I would like that. And there's not much available right now. It's the problem, you know.
What do you think of Cosmo?
I like it. For me, it's just a little overpriced. I think it's awesome, but just the pricing of it's a little much. But not saying it's not worth it, but it's just, to me, what I think. I don't think I want to buy it for like, you know, $30,000 or something.
If you were to like, okay, I remember first seeing him like a couple years back when Ralph posted them, and I was like, my fucking jaw hit the ground. Like I was I was so obsessed with them. Mainly because they remind me of Timor pythons, like that pattern. I was like, dude, this looks like Timors. I had a lot of Timors then. So I remember then, like, you know, even though I didn't have that money, but I would, if I had $30K to spend on a Cosmo, then looking at that, I would have done it if I had the money, right? But I will tell you this: I went to someone's facility, saw some Cosmo shit, and I was not a fan. I was like, dude, but mind you, I was only looking at a certain section of Cosmos. There was another section of Cosmos that fucking looked completely different, and they were fire as shit. Like, so now I'm like, man, it's almost like Cosmos is almost like a Sunset situation. Like it's good, but you got to be careful with what you put in it. Like, it could look like shit too, you know? So I don't know. I obviously that's also another thing that we're going to see a lot of here in the next year or so.
Yeah, but that's Codom, so it should it
should be popping up.
For sure.
I
like it for sure. I'm just watching it, you know.
Cosmo isn't the super form, right? Is there, or that Cosmo is the super form?
There's a Super Cosmos. I don't know what it's called, but
okay,
it might just be called Super Cosmos.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Do you have any incomplete dominants that are super in your collection? Like anything that you work are super form?
I usually don't go for supers. I usually add a recessive instead. That's usually my strategy.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously I have stuff that I could make supers. I'm going, you know, eventually just make some supers that are cool. But
like what?
Usually like with a female that has that codom, I'll rather put another recessive to her versus, you know, make a super out of it.
What's a super that you're cool, like you wouldn't mind making?
I would like to see a super black adder. I think that could be cool.
Super black adder?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like a darker gene that has like a weird pattern too.
Okay, new gene. Are you kidding me? It's called adder. What's it called? What's
black adder? There's adder and there's black adder.
Oh my god. Okay, never heard of this, dude. I need your help. So Blackadder, let's write this one down. What's it from? Are you the first one to have it? Did it come?
No, I got mine from Justin, but it's one of those genes just kind of been floating around for a bit. You know, it's been around, but not many people are working with it.
Dark,
definitely a darker gene, more kind of more banded, a lot more blacks going on for sure.
But very untapped because I've never heard. I mean, I feel like I almost feel like I hear them all, but then I don't. You know?
Yeah.
So Blackadder, and how long have you been associating your projects with Blackadder?
I got a male like 2 years ago that just started breeding for me now. So
wow,
I have made none of them, but I have a breeder male that's locking
incomplete dominant.
Yeah.
Dang. Oh yeah, obviously because you want to make a super.
Yeah.
So you're gonna focus on dark stuff with that, like only dark stuff.
Yeah, and the clown and Xanthic and
I was gonna say
Xanthic pieds maybe. I don't know. Some things just don't work in pied. Some things do. So we'll see what happens.
So much potential with Xanthic. What I want to see so bad in Xanthic is like super blackhead, super chocolates.
Yeah.
You know, because I do know there's going to be one of those genes that make that snake brown, which we don't want. You know, because Xanthic, you want it to make it look as blue as possible. I would say, right? Like that's the whole point of Xanthic. But again, it's a dangerous game to play with. Like you don't, you know, there could be that one gene where you're like, well, never doing that again. But you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
So Blackadder, huh? Wow. So what's something like that go for if it's available? If I mean, from
probably no recessives involved. Probably around 1,000. You know, it's a maybe even less.
Okay.
So there's probably 5 of them on Morph Market, I would guess, but maybe there's a little more.
But you don't think it's something that people are going to struggle looking at and thinking, okay, does it have it? Does it not have it?
Mine's pretty obvious. Yeah. I think it's pretty easy to tell. I mean, who knows with 4 other genes in there or something, see what happens.
Do you work with anything that you question really hard IDing sometimes?
Mandarin's hard to ID, I have some Mandarin, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to figure out. Some it's like, it pops really easily, But
have you put it back into each other and gotten like better looking Mandarins, or like what have you gotten to so far with that project?
I only got 1 clutch, and that was to like clown combos. So
a bunch of heads. Yeah,
and a couple visuals.
But that's definitely something you'd want to put into a super form. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's the ultimate goal. Super form.
Yeah,
it seems like that stands out, and then with hypos, hypos kind of key in Mandarin. It seems like.
Well, it's kind of like, you look at a gravel and you're like, the fuck's that, and then you put it back into it and it's like a super gravel and it's a whole nother snake. And I feel like that's kind of the same thing in a sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that could happen, huh? Like, it's like, man, like you might not even notice what you have sometimes until you put it back. And the first Mandarin I ever saw, and I'll still remember this like it was yesterday, but it was at Best Dressed Balls booth, and TJ was there displaying that super Mandarin hypo. And I remember seeing it from like all the way across the building. Like it was
it's a crazy color, right?
One of the nicest things I've ever seen in person. And like I was just blown away by that snake, like totally blown away by that snake. But it also turns out it's not as an easy snake to make.
Super and hypo. Yeah.
But has that been holding its value pretty well, Mandarin, the project?
I think so. Yeah.
TJ seems to be doing well. He seems to.
He has some cool stuff.
You fucking throw the shit out all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So do you have True Ghost projects in the works at all? Like putting hypo and Xanthic together?
I do through my like hypo DG clown stuff like that.
So DG's in it too.
Yeah. I do like True Ghost a lot. Like True Ghost is really cool. I think that's the most underrated snake, just True Ghost.
I think so too. If we were to put down how long it's been around, like years that we could have been having True Ghost stuff, and we just never did.
There's like 5 made every year, and that's it. It's just like
but like nobody like really takes it to the fucking full extent. I mean that's changing now, obviously.
I think True Ghost puzzles. I think that a couple people are pretty close with that. That's gonna be really cool. Yeah.
So are you pretty? Are you heavy with the puzzle stuff as well, or not really?
Yeah, not like heavy, but I have a reasonable amount of it. Some good hets and triple hets for like hypo and sunset puzzles.
If somebody's
a lot of lavender puzzle stuff.
If somebody's coming to the game right now, Andre, and they're hearing talk on a podcast that like, oh yeah, like puzzle's the new clown. Don't worry about clown stuff. It's so saturated. Do you feel like that's true or false?
I feel like that's false. I think puzzle, has a lot of potential, and it's, amazing. But clown, like what Gene's doing clown is just like, you can't match that, you know.
Right.
Puzzle's like more of a pattern thing.
Yeah.
Clown can just do everything, I feel like.
Clown has made such a solid name for itself, regardless what a single clown goes for. Like, dude, like you have projects where you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't have fucking clown in the mix.
Yeah.
But
Puzzle's amazing at the same time, you know.
But Puzzle's, but exactly.
I think Clown's a staple in it forever. That's what I feel like.
But it's kind of like arguing DG hypo, like, oh, like is GG the new? No, dude, they're both together. Like they need a, you know. But what's crazy when let's get to this topic because this blows my fucking mind. And again, I'm rooting for anybody out there who's a believer in the Puzzle Clown project.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit! Like I don't see a fucking difference at all. Like I've seen so many different people show me a puzzle clown. I'm like, bro, that's a clown. Like that's a fucking that's it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, just leave it alone. Keep it moving.
I know.
But do you have no intentions of putting clown and puzzle together? I'm assuming like
none.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that something you did want to do before we found out the truth about it?
No.
Never.
Yeah. I think puzzle is good with like other, like it's kind of like Monsoon where, you know, you want to put those color changing things in there, you know, get like Exanthic, DG, hypo in there, you know.
You like Kiki?
Yeah. It's okay, you know, but I'm working it like kind of backwards with a male that's het for it, you know, but I don't have a lot of females for it.
Who posted one? I think it was. Oh man, what's his name? I forget. There was because I mean I've seen Kiki stuff, and I'm just like I don't know how much further you could go with that.
Yeah,
but I've also seen some newer stuff where I'm like, all right, that's cool.
It is like a strong combo, so it hides a lot of stuff, you know. So
and regardless, it ages well. And I will say, that's what matters to me, regardless of what your pattern goals are. As long as that snake ages well, it's going to do well in this game.
Yeah, Brock posted like a almost breeder size female, and she looked still really nice.
Yeah. But for me, like if you're in a project because of pattern, you want to protect that pattern. You don't want to fuck that pattern up. And like with like for instance puzzle, right? If I produce a visual puzzle, I want to look at that and see puzzle. Like I want to you know what I mean?
Know it's there.
And there's some things where you know if you have other stuff in the mix, it can make it difficult sometimes.
For sure.
So that's why it's also like, you know, again, you got to really think a lot of these projects through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So with puzzle, for the most part, are you producing any puzzles up this year or no?
Yeah, hopefully some lavender puzzle combos. Hopefully like blackhead and she lavender puzzle. I mean, there's long odds and all that, but that's the ultimate goal for me. Yeah. And then work that into sunset after that fact will be the next step.
What about Ultramil?
I don't have any.
Wow.
I do. The Ultra puzzle does look really nice for sure. I like
what about Monarch? No Monarch either?
No, not that.
All right. If the door were to open and it had either next level Monarch stuff or next level Ultramil stuff in it, what would you want?
It's probably the Monarch. I like the dark.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that the correct answer?
Oh my God. Here's the thing. I don't hate Ultramil. I think there's a lot, but I feel like there's been so much Ultramil. I want more Monarch. I'm ready to see more Monarch. I can't wait. And I know
I think the Monarch puzzle will be real cool.
And I also know that there's people out there who have some crazy Monarch stuff, probably like Justin, that's going to be cooking and putting out there here pretty soon.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of genes that like DG doesn't go well with, you know.
Yeah,
DG is my favorite, so like that limits, you know, Ultramil. I think that limits Monarch. You know, it kind of limits what, you know, that kind of stuff. So
is Monarch
probably 4 years ago, I kind of like I had some Ultramil, but you know, in my mind, I was like, I want to, you know, keep stuff that will eventually work with DG.
Is Monarch lingering in the future for you? Maybe like, do you have that intentions of swooping some Monarch at some point when it's time, or
not really? Not now, not necessarily. Yeah, doesn't mean it won't happen, but
yeah. I mean, I can't fully, like I said, I have so much to give to the ball python game, but I'm at that point where I know I need to add something. Like I either need to add puzzle. I either need to add puzzle or Exanthic for sure. Like Exanthic 100%, I need to add to the mix.
Yeah, Exanthic's good.
I'm ready just to invest into Exanthic hypo stuff, to be honest.
For sure. I mean, I think Tim Bailey he's like one of the only guys that makes it. He makes them, you know, every year he makes a little bit. I know Levance has some. But yeah, it's kind of hard to find. Yeah. It's hard to find for sure, you know.
Well, I definitely know people who are breeding stuff this year for sure. And it's just a matter of time, like, at some, for it to really kind of make a full force into the hobby. But I mean, people are starting to really talk about it, I feel like.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll make some hypo clown head exanthic DGs and that kind of stuff. Hypo, maybe DG exanthic clown head hypos.
Okay.
We'll see. Long odds on that for sure.
So vending, like, what's your game plan for vending this year? I know. Like you said, you're gonna be at Bob's in August, but like, how many days? I'm sorry, how many shows out of the year are you looking to vend?
Probably like six, like good ones. Top tier. It's hard to get away from home. I got kids, and I'm the only person, cleaning my snakes and taking care of them. So if I'm going every weekend, it's easy to get behind. So like one every 2 months, I think is good.
I mean, I'm sad to report this, but I should have thought about this before I started saying I was going to go to Bob's. But my whole plan was to go to Bob's in August. But dude, I got over 70 chondro eggs cooking right now, man, and like they're all about to hatch, and I'm going to be so busy.
That's a lot of work there.
And I'm like you, dude. I got nobody to come in here to help me. I mean, I got somebody to help, but like, dude, I want to be here. Like,
that's yours.
Like, this is mine, and this is like the biggest challenge of any breeding season I've ever had. So like, I wish it wasn't too soon, but I won't be able to pull Bob's on August.
Okay.
But I have Bill's in September. Bill Stiegel. Do you do any RBC Dallas at all? Do you do?
I'm gonna do this one.
You are?
This year. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
So it's the first time I'll do that one. So I want to try it out.
And you're in Virginia, right?
Yeah. So it'll be a long drive.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about your preparation when it comes to you vending a show that's far,
Yeah. Normally I would leave on a Friday, because it would be, but most shows I've done are, let's say under 14 hours away.
Oh my
so you
God.
could leave on a Friday or a Thursday night if it's like Tinley. But yeah, that one I would probably leave on a Thursday. So the day before I'm packing up, so you can't feed that week, you're behind in that way. That weekend before, you probably have to work to make sure everything's watered and cleaned, So you're cutting your week, you're using, it's probably 6 days just to vend one show, 6 days of work. So I'm just testing it out to see if like it's worth doing those big shows and going farther away versus doing a closer show, because ultimately it's the same amount of prep to do a local show versus a show 20 hours where you just got to drive farther. Yeah. So if I drive 12 more hours and make more money, it's worth it,
it's a risk, but it can be such a rewarding risk. You know what I'm saying? And also too, the experience. I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to know what it's like going that far, traveling with that many animals.
Yeah.
I do know that some people ship their animals. Do you ship them and then drive, or are you putting them in the car?
Do that. That's I would worry too much. Yeah.
That's what you just rather have them in the car.
Yeah. I'll keep in my car and I'll drive it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just putting that many snakes in one box is scary, especially all like your best snakes right then, that's not, I don't trust that. I mean, it's probably totally fine, but just not.
Yes, it could. I'm like I said, doable, and I know it is, but for me, I'm right there with you. Like, I won't go further than fucking Pomona, which is 2 hours from me. That's it. I stop right there only because like, I don't know. I don't want something fucked up to happen. And so and I'm always like, I've had some fucked up shit happen. So I'm always thinking the worst, And so like, I hate leaving my animals there overnight. Like, I even pack up all my animals, take them to the hotel room. And like, I don't trust shit, And so it's stressful. That's why I tip my hat to people who like vend one weekend and then the next weekend they go back. And it's like, how are you doing that? Like, are you cycling animals or like how are you taking that animal from not eating for a week and then you take it? I just don't know how that works. I don't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've never done that, and I don't plan on doing that. It's just too much,
How many animals do you typically take with you to a show?
So when I'm the Dallas show, I bring 2 tables, so I'll have probably 6 displays. So
nice.
About 6 times 15. So was that 90?
About 90 snakes.
Yeah.
And do you have a strategic way of bringing like certain snakes that pull people in? Like, do you like bringing pieds or like white snakes at all? Or like, how do you like to plan that?
Yeah, I like to bring different tiers of snakes. You know, you want like some pieds and some pet stuff. Even exanthic pieds, like, you know, that's a perfect, beautiful pet, you know, that still has some value to it. So,
Yeah.
and then for a show like NARBC, have some expensive, awesome snakes too. You know, I think that's what makes it worth it.
I
Show
just,
off some
man,
cool stuff.
like Blue Eye Lucy or a big pied. Like, I'm not a fan of like standing out there with a snake around your neck, but holy shit, I'm best believe I'm doing that next time. I mean, just because it's like, who doesn't like a fucking big all white snake, you know?
Yeah.
And as long as it doesn't bite them or whatever, they're gonna, like, that's the best way to pull people in. And so I just know anytime I'm vending now, especially if I have ball pythons I have for sale, I'm gonna have fucking Blue Eye Lucy's all out there for people to check out. For
People love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I sold a super fire. It was like, it was clown, but the person didn't care, you know, because they just wanted a white snake, you know?
Yeah.
It's just some of those snakes that we like kind of look past are like perfect for the pet trade, you know?
Yeah.
And you're going to get more value from there versus selling on an auction or, you know, whatever. Cause you know, you can get $300-500 for something like that at a show.
So you'll be at Tinley?
Yeah, I should be at Tinley vending.
How are you? Do you know people, or like how are you getting your foot in the door at Tinley? Because being a ball python breeder right now, like getting into Tinley is not easy. So
it's not confirmed yet, so I don't want to say it.
But you're hopefully you're working on it.
Yeah.
Dude, like, yeah, shout out to Bob Ashley, man. Me and Bob are cool.
Yeah.
But I had one ball python breeder who was just dying to get in there last year. And I was like, let me hit up Bob. Like, normally I won't go out of my way, but I like this dude. And I was trying hard.
Yeah.
And I hit up Bob. He's like, yeah, what does he keep? I'm like, ball pythons. He's like, nope, we're all booked.
Yeah. Like forever.
But like, but if I would
let you in. Ever.
But if I would have said a fucking, like, he has fucking tree monitor art or something, like anything but ball python, he would have gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So I was like, damn, that's ruthless. You know what I mean?
I know. There's a lot of tables at Tinley, I feel like, that, you know, probably, you know, there's so many new breeders that like aren't allowed in there. And there's people that have been there forever that aren't necessarily doing a great job, you know?
I agree.
I think they should kind of think about that. You know, you're kind of like letting in the new, like kind of cool people, not letting them in, you know?
Well, that's why it's like, you know, it gets political, bro. Like, no matter how you look at it, some of these things, like when you look deep into it, they play these political games of like, well, you know, and that's why, you know, it is what it is. You just got to chalk it up to where, like, you got to do what you got to do to get in there somehow, like find a way, or just don't go to that show and fucking go somewhere else.
There's a lot of shows on the same weekend that you could probably make good money with too, you know? So,
I mean, I know tons of people, like, you know, because for instance, like I remember, like, you know, traveling to all these big shows, and I see on my stories people at other shows. Man, there's so many other reptile shows happening while these big shows are happening.
Yeah.
So I will say, even though I've seen big money being made at NARBCs or reptile super shows, dude, there's so many different shows that you could really see what is best fit for you. But then also there's shows you don't really want your brand at either. So
yeah,
you almost got go ahead.
Could you be the you know, like a medium mid-level person at Tinley and nobody even sees you, you know, versus like one of the better people at a local show. So there is a balance, and it's, you know, it's hard to figure out. And maybe you just get lucky and get the right people coming through to your table, you know.
I've never, like, you know, and I think, man, because we always talk about location, right? Like, oh, I had this booth here and I was kind of hidden, or like whatever the fuck. And I think location does have a part at some point. But if you got sick shit, you got sick shit. And I've seen people who've been tucked away in corners who had fucking epic shows because they had sick shit.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's all about like it's all about having the right stuff at the right time at the right show. Like, and it's like kind of almost hitting the fucking jackpot. It's like all threes. Like it works out like that sometimes. I gotta say, you want to know who I never see have a bad show ever is Bob Vu. He's working it. He makes me want to bend. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, he even has good shows even when he's not even behind his booth, like when he has his crew working for him. And I feel like that's next level. When you get to that level of things, bro, like, that's when you're really killing it, you know?
Having a bigger setup helps for sure, because it's hard to walk past 4 tables of snakes. You know, you're going to look at some, but if somebody has one table, it's easy to just walk past or ignore it or glance down, you know? So Babu generally has a pretty big presence at most shows, which helps.
How competitive do you think things are right now in the ball python game, personally?
I think they're competitive, but I mean, still everybody's making different stuff. So I don't think it's like different than usual. There's like you said, there's less breeders now than there were before, but obviously there's probably less money to spend overall. But I think overall it's, you know, it's competitive, but I think it's always been competitive. You always hear about stuff back in the day, like breeders cutting prices and getting mad at each other and all that. You know, I think it's just always everybody's trying to sell a snake. You know, you're trying to get the most money for it.
Yeah, I look at it like this: like if you're upset because somebody is slashing a price on a project that you're working with, well, then why are you working it? Like, why are you shouldn't give a fuck about what price that project is. If you like it, you like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then also do something else with it. Like, you know, it's kind of like we always talk about how sunset's not the final destination. You go to the next, you figure it out. Like what do we put in it? You know what I'm saying?
Like the Xanthic DG Clown, that looks amazing. But I'm not just trying to make that right now, you know. Like I want to make one, but I want to make one with other stuff in there too. You know, that's not generally the goal is not to make, you know, to see something you love and go for something more than that, you know.
Have you made any triple recessive stuff yet?
Yeah. Hypo Clown Pied, DG Clown Pied. A weird one was the Xanthic Lavender pied blackhead.
Xanthic lavender pied.
That was a weird one, but it looked pretty awesome. It was like, you know, so a couple, and hopefully you know, working towards some quads for sure, possibly this year, but hopefully next year make some cool quads combos.
What's more likely going to be the first quad you make?
Xanthic DG Clown Pied.
Oh wow, that's going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm excited. So working my way towards that. Hopefully in the egg is a DG Clown Pied Het Xanthic. And I made some DG Clown Het Xanthic Pied and the triple visual Het Xanthic last year. So I'm growing that up too.
I've had definitely had my ups and downs with pied, but anytime I see hypo in pied, DG in pied with the right combos, I'm like, holy shit, like, you can never stop working pied. Like it's
good
because you obviously you get your pies where you're like, God damn it, what is this? Like you're scratching your head, but then you hit the pies that are like mid to low white, and you're like, oh my God, this is sick. You know what I'm saying?
I love pies. Yeah,
and
it's limiting just like other genes, but you know, it's still a lot of cool stuff.
But you're not mad when you hit. Like when you hit what you want, you're happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And God damn it, man, I made some hets with some crazy ringers that were like dude. When they look better het than they do with the visual pied in it sometimes.
Yeah,
You just never know what you're gonna get sometimes.
Yeah, pied's cool.
There's a saying out there: pied is king. You think that's true or false?
I think it's Prince. It's a little bit below king.
What would be the king morph in your book? Like, what would be the number one? Like this reigns supreme when it comes to morphs.
For me, it's DG. It's DG. But you could say Clown's up there, but I like DG. It's just, for me, that's what it is.
Yeah, 100%. We talked a little bit about shed testing, but how much has shed testing helped you out, Andre? Like, what's it been like for you using shed testing?
I think it's been really helpful. I mean, it changes the game totally, you know, but the things I like doing is multi-recessive. So that definitely helps, you know, with that for sure.
Yeah,
it sucks when you know, get like one out of, you know, the whole clutch not, you know, proven and everything else is negative. I just had that recently. So it's like a bunch of lavenders that were all not het puzzle. It's just like,
right.
You know, it's probably more fun to hope for 2 years that snake's going to prove and not prove versus just right away, just know that none of them are het puzzle. But it does, you know, you got to adapt and you got to just work with it, you know.
If you were to buy said snake that's het, right, and you get that snake in your collection, would you test that snake anyways?
Depends on who it came through, but most likely not. I would generally, if they shed tested it, I might, you know, because that adds a little bit of error. Right. But most likely, I probably wouldn't test it again.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't much of a topic, but there was a point in time where you had people like trying to debunk shed testing and like almost saying like, well, this is what I got on my results, but like it's like, these people weren't even sending in the right sheds.
I know, right?
And it's like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's science. Like, I'm not saying science is always right, but like, dude, these are accurate. Like, there's like, I much rather believe RGI or Charlie versus fucking someone's word for sure.
I know. Yeah, I used to manage like doctor's office labs and different laboratories. And there's so many variables into like getting the correct result. And a lot of times it is the errors that happen before you even get the sample,
Yeah. And then we, I don't,
so if you don't label a shed properly, or if you collect it and just put it aside and then forget what it is, and you send that in, I mean, it's just, that happens all the time.
And if any test comes back with the question mark and you're like, what the fuck, they'll retest it. That's the beauty about it. Like they want it to be as accurate as you do. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like anytime someone should get a test in and you're looking at the snake and you're like, wait a minute, just retest it. Because, human errors do happen, right? And RGI, I mean, fuck, dude, they take in a lot of sheds. And so I do know, talking personally to Sean and Ben, like, man, they're so down to retest it. So I feel like, no one should really be discouraged using shed testing. Like that's our future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, them and Charlie are all very helpful. They they want to, get you the right result.
Yeah. And
but
also,
for certain males I have, that it's just like, it makes that male perfect versus if shed testing didn't exist, Like a Xanthic Het DG Clown Pied, that male, a lot of clutches he has, I'm gonna have to test the whole clutch just to see what it is, Otherwise that male wouldn't be that good, or it would just make that a different thing, So it adds value to a lot of different males for sure.
Are you using the first shed to test or the second shed? Like what shed are you going with?
Yeah, when they hatch, I'll put them in their own tub and then just put a label on their front of the tub and then a label on their top of the lid. And then so when they shed, I pull that shed out and let it dry and send it in.
So there's really no time wasting when it comes to that. It's and I feel
otherwise
like
you're delaying a month potentially of selling that animal or knowing what to do with it, so get that in right away.
Yeah, man, and that's one thing I started realizing, because like obviously, like, I'm not there yet, but I have stuff hatching out here soon. Last year I tried to be on top of the shed testing, but I kept putting it off. And every time I kept putting it off, I just wouldn't turn it in. And I'm like, fuck. And so this year I'm getting into the rhythm where, boom, I get the shed. I have a system where it's gone. Like it's collected, it's gone. And I want to know as soon as possible, I'm doing that this year 110%.
Because a lot of times you don't know what to do with the animal until you get the results back. Are you going to hold it back? Are you going to sell it? Yeah. So it just,
but it's like, man, we think about the time saved here. You know what I mean? Because
it's a full month probably before they shed again. That's a long time.
Right. Right. And then mind you too, like if you got something, or that isn't going to be in your collection for the long run, there's no time to waste to get that thing moving. You got to get it moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's, man, I'm excited, but also like, no, like, damn, it's another chore.
Yeah. It's definitely another thing to deal with. Right. It's not fun to do either,
What are you doing?
When they hatch out, just put another label on there if you're going to test it, so that one you need to pull that shed. It's a simple way to do it.
Do you use press and seal in your egg boxes?
I don't. I used to. Now I just have tubs that have like a seal built in, so it just makes it a little easier.
Mind you, I'll never forget my first 2 years I used it, and it was cool. Like sometimes I had issues ripping it, but like whatever. Like it was, and mind you, it was cool because I saw it on Justin's YouTube and Miguel's.
It works, right?
And I'm like, but I'm like thinking like, what's all this water on the egg, and like, not that it hurts the egg, but when you start breeding other stuff where if that egg gets wet, it's fucked. You start to think like,
ball python eggs don't matter as much.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, but I'm like, dude, do we need this press and seal? And I think it really determines on your incubator, right? But once I started using sim containers, I was so happy to be done with the press and seal, dude. Like,
I hate it.
Fuck that step. No, at first I was like excited because like, oh yeah, I better get the press and seal, but like, I hated that shit after a while.
Why are we doing that?
And it's like
crappy plastic on there.
Like, I'm pretty sure ball python eggs are not getting rained on fucking in the goddamn in the goddamn wild, dude. Dude, you see people like pulling a clutch and there's this water dripping on their eggs, and I'm like, can we do something about this, please? Like, I get the snake's not dying, but like, can we not drip fucking water all over the egg, please? It's a trip to me, dude. But like, it just shows you like ball python goddamn snakes are tanks, dude. Like they get soaked at some point and survive. Mind you, in the beginning, you can't get that egg wet in the first couple weeks. Like it will go bad, but
Yeah.
it does hit a certain point in the development where being wet doesn't matter, which is crazy.
But you usually early on in incubation, it doesn't get much, condensation in there. It's towards the end.
No,
usually,
right, towards the end. But mind you, like I said, it's developed to the point where it's fine, which is good because I mean I'll never forget trying to keep the egg as dry as possible, and by accident got it wet, and it was nothing was wrong. Same with retic eggs. When I were hatched retics, they got super. Dude, I think I had like 12 retic eggs, which are humongous. Okay.
Yeah.
I had them all in one sim container, like almost fucking pushing the lid up. Like that's how big the eggs were. And they got all wet. And I remember every day I was wiping down the lid and I couldn't stop from the drops from going on the eggs. But those eggs got wet and they went the distance. So
yeah. I think scrub eggs are pretty sensitive, right? Some other species.
I'm not that. I mean, that's a Stephen Cush question. I wouldn't know about I could have sworn they're pretty similar to retic eggs, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'll ask Stephen. Chondro eggs, you get that shit wet, it's over. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
There's no getting a chondro egg wet. Even like day 49, you do not want to get that fucking thing wet. It's terrible.
So how do you keep the condensation out? Like even a sim container can drip a little bit. Do you put it on an angle so the water goes down the edge?
I have air holes, dude. So basically, I don't so in the beginning, I only have 2 air holes on one each side. Water buildup still happens, but I just wipe it down. So I'm just good at wiping it. There is a point in time where you need to get in there, wipe down the lid, and then when you get to like day 40, you're wiping down that lid every morning. And just keeping it dry, but then also it needs to be like 99.9%, 100% humidity in there. So it's a weird thing. Like once you figure it out, like it's good, but man, like there's no room for error with these chondro eggs, and that's why it's like, man, like I don't know how the fuck we were doing the press and seal the whole time, where it's like you just unnecessary. It's just an unnecessary step. Like I'm telling you right now, you don't need press and seal. You don't need it.
Well, with the cheap tubs, you do, because your eggs will dry out. You just need a better tub.
Like meaning like you're like what, like a Target tub or a Sterilite tub with like a lid?
Yeah. Like I've had early on, I had eggs like get too dry without some press and seal.
Yeah, so you're right, because there are lids out there that are like it lets out way too much airflow.
Yeah.
So you definitely probably, because I know if you go to the store, what is it called, the Container Store, Container Store,
they have good stuff.
Anything at the Container Store will work. I'm telling you right now. If you're out there and you're about to get a clutch and you don't know what egg box to use, go to the Container Store and you will not need press and seal.
Yeah. I have Sterilite tubs that have like a gasket built in on the edge, so it just seals it for me. It's good.
Yeah. But I will say, man, it's fucking doesn't take much to hatch out a ball python egg. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Right? Exactly. If you got the temps that are what they need to be, just fucking set it and forget it.
Yeah.
It's the beauty about ball pythons. Like there's no wiping down a lid. It's like see you in 53 days or 54 days. Are you a guy who likes to cut at a certain point, or do you let them pip first, or what do you like to do?
I don't mind cutting. I don't do it every time. It just depends on the clutch. But I'll cut like, right when they're about to pip or once they pip, just to check out what's going on there. Some clutches I'm more excited about than others,
Yeah.
Especially probably like the first couple of clutches of the season, you've been waiting, potentially 4 or 6 months since you've had eggs last, had stuff hatch last. So there's more anticipation going on there.
I mean, we talk about like the stuff you can get away with hatching out ball pythons, bro. I by mistake, I swear to God, this was a mistake. I've cut an egg on like day 28 or day 30. By mistake. It was a wrong clutch, and I just wasn't thinking. And I remember like looking at it, I was like, oh my God, like what am I looking at? And so I put it away, and that thing still hatched. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy.
It was just like a window, but it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I saw big breeders with big scissors cutting on day 47 on the regular.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, people are fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Another thing is like, man, I guess you're right. If there's a clutch I've been waiting all fucking year to see what I hit, I get it. I let that shit pip now though.
Yeah. It's the better way. Just be patient. You'll be good.
It's cool. It is cool to see them come out on their own too.
Yeah. It's more natural feeling.
But I don't think I let a ball python pip for like the first 4 years of my career.
Yeah.
Just because like, it's the norm to cut. Yeah, you can just cut. Fucking cut.
It's fun,
But another thing that like irks me is like, and I get it, it's part of the norm, but like first and foremost, someone cuts an egg, there's all this yolk, okay? Like fresh fucking yolk. and then the blood, like, you know, like
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, that egg is just not ready to be cut. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
give it 2 more days, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I get it, but like, if you are going to cut an egg that early, don't fucking put it on goddamn Instagram or your YouTube. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
like the whole like yolk coming out and the
It's
veins.
gross, right?
I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
it's too soon. It's like that right there.
That's
Like,
that snake's blood. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Peter or somebody on a sick one could see that and be like, oh my God. Like, so I wish, because like you've seen ball pythons when they're ready to come out. Like, there's no yolk. Like they're pretty much ready. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, like at least show it like that. Like, don't show it so fucking fresh. Because another thing too, like, what are you really looking at? Like, I get you could have an idea what the snake is, but you know you're damn well you can't ID that snake until it comes out.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, it's probably this too, and then I don't know what else is going on. Or
I mean, trust me, I cut eggs open and I saw the head. I'm like, clown, like I hit it, you know,
Yeah.
but like, but you're like, did I hit it? And like you're questioning yourself, and then it comes out and you're like, oh wow, you know.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm just saying, just let it come out, or just just don't cut it so
Be
early.
patient.
Yeah. God damn. Anyways, all right. Listen, wrap up topic before I let you go tonight, Andre, and you know, plain and simple. Anyone out there who's feeling discouraged in the ball python game, what's your message to them? What do you have to say to anyone out there who's you know, been around for a handful of years and I don't know, lacking motivation, lacking to post, or just not very unsure? What do you have to say to anyone out there who's unsure?
I think just keep working, just be patient and work harder. You can't give up. I think the only way to fail is to stop, you know.
Yeah.
I've always heard that, you know, the only way to do that. So just be undeniable, work harder, keep working, get better. And every year you're going to get better as long as you hold back and keep thinking about stuff. So just got to keep going.
What's been your toughest year?
Probably this past year. Yeah.
And was it the adjusting of being on your own again, or like what would you say the hardest thing was for the last year?
Just like breaking down the business and moving my family. I moved my family to Richmond, and then I moved away, so I had to move my snakes and my family twice.
Ooh.
So that
was
more than the snakes. That's a lot of work, you know, and figuring out where you're going to live, you know, all that stuff, where you keep your snakes.
What was the reason of moving twice?
To do the business, you know, to join up. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the hardest part. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Dude, moving sucks. The worst.
Does.
The worst.
Yeah.
Just because
I'm happier than I was,
but yeah,
I should have my best season I've ever had. So that's
when it's over, it's over. And you're like, thank God. But like,
Move
man,
on.
like, it took me because I told you how much chondro eggs I had, but dude, last year and the year before, dude, fucking took fucking shots to the nads, bro. Like, it wasn't easy. But finally, my room wasn't there. It was adjusting. It took me legit over 2 years to get this room dialed in to where I needed it to be.
Yeah.
And I only moved 8 minutes away from my old house. So it's like,
yeah,
you know, but it was it was a garage turned into a facility, I guess you could say. Like, you know, and it just takes time. But moving, man, is like, fuck, dude. Like, I'll tell you what, whenever I do move next, I'm not gonna breathe that whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe ball pythons, but like the chondros and stuff, I'm taking a whole break. Yeah, I'm taking a whole break and just letting them be for a whole year.
Yeah.
But then, you know, obviously moving costs money, and then there's things you need to fucking. I don't even want to think about it. Dude.
Yeah, it sucks.
Because we want to buy a bigger house. Like, you know, I have baby 2 on the way. How old are your kids,
sweet.
Andre?
2 and 5.
Damn, that's pretty close. So yeah, my kid Leo turns 2 in this month.
Awesome.
20 days. So Leo turns 2 on the 23rd, but then
Cool.
he has his little brother coming in November.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
sweet.
So pretty close in age too. So I'm gonna be right living the life that you're living, pretty rock and rolling.
My birthday is November 17th, so get them.
Oh, there you go.
Then.
Dude, bitching, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, listen, I gotta say the best time of my life is with the kids.
That's awesome.
I love it. The family. I've always been a family guy, but man, nothing's been making me feel more fulfilled than being with my family and the reptiles and obviously the people part of the reptile community. Life is a beautiful thing right now, you know?
Yeah. If you're struggling, there's always people to talk to in the reptile industry. You know, there's always good people to hang out with and talk to.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, you know, you got to reach out first and foremost. you'd be surprised how many other people have already gone through exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, was there ever a time you're like in your room so frustrated where you thought quitting was a thing you needed to do? Because I got to tell you, there's been, before I got to this point where I don't have as much, I had my fucking plate so full sometimes where like I almost didn't want to do this. And I was fucking weighing over my head. That was a few years ago, but
Sure.
Did you ever have any moments like that, Andre, where you're like, fuck, dude, like that overwhelmed?
No. I've always, it's just what I know, it's just like, this is the path.
Yeah.
That could change, but I think this is like my life, got to go for it.
Fucking bring it on, huh? Well, dude, Andre, I'm so glad you came back, man. It was cool to catch up. Looking to have you back on again at some point, but just keep killing it, bro. Like, it was, like I said, really cool to see you at Bob's.
Yeah.
I know
you're going to be at Dallas.
I'll be at Dallas. Yeah,
okay.
I'll be there.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, and then I'll be at Tinley in October.
Okay, cool.
But after Tinley October, I'm going to be shut down on traveling because I got number 2 on the way, and I can't leave. Can't
oh
leave.
Yeah.
So
that's most important.
Before we let you go, Andre, why don't you drop all your plugs? Let people know where they can follow you.
Chimera Reptiles on Instagram and Facebook. Just those 2 right now. I probably should do YouTube, but I don't really do it. But probably when I start hatching some cool stuff, I'll try to make that happen.
I mean, the stuff you're going to be hatching out, bro, YouTube is probably a must for you. So
yeah, I'll do it. Just gotta do it.
All right, guys, find all the plugs to Andre's social medias platforms in the description below. But give it up. It's a wrap for Chimera Reptiles, ladies and gentlemen.
Awesome.
Thank you, Andre, for coming by, buddy. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace. All right, good episode. Appreciate everyone who tapped in. Cool to be back. It was good to talk with Andre, catch up with his projects, but go give him a follow, man. Really respect Andre. And thanks for tapping in, guys. Before you guys leave, let's get the likes up. Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Select all. You'll be reminded of every podcast released out of the Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world, and that's a fact. Monday nights, new breed on the block. Be ready. Coming through. There will be no All in the Tree Tuesday because I have knee surgery. That's right. My 4th freaking knee surgery, dude. Getting old sucks. But I have a meniscus surgery happening Tuesday, so no All in the Tree Tuesday. But I might pre-record something, so keep that TBD. But Thursday, dude, I hope you guys are ready. Just so you guys know, next Thursday night, not only will it might be a back-to-back Trap Talk, like meaning I'm going to do 2 episodes, but dude, we're going to might possibly have one of the most craziest episodes of the year. Like the people I'm going to have on all at once, it's going to be nuts. So be ready for that next Thursday night. Best way to be reminded is by hitting that notification bell. Select all. Be reminded of every single freaking podcast released out of the network. All right, before I let you guys go, check out the sponsors. Have a good weekend. See you at the top. One of the biggest growths we have in the reptile industry today are the rare species of reptiles that aren't worked with. That's right. That's why I went ahead and partnered up again with Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles. Brian works with species such as kahua geckos, gargoyle geckos, all species of tree monitors. He works with Abronia and many other cool species geckos that you can check out all on his website. Head over to sundownreptiles.com, see what he has available. Brian's one of the best doing it in the reptile industry today. He's been on the show multiple times, so make sure you check out all of Brian Susan's episodes on Trap Talk Reptile Network. But more importantly, for the highest quality of captive bred reptiles, make sure you head over to sundownreptiles.com and make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. Thank you again, Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles. One of the things I love about being a part of the reptile industry is all the learning, okay? Learning can be fun, and I can prove that to you. Thank you so much to today's sponsor, it's Gary Scavino over at GS Reptiles. I highly recommend you head over to his YouTube channel, follow all this man's content when it comes to learning about rare species of snakes you could be keeping in the hobby, and also just finding out how easy a lot of these rare species of snakes are to keep in general. So thank you so much, Gary Scavino of GS Reptiles. Again, head over to his YouTube channel. Also head over to his Instagram to be on top of all of his current work and be ready for a big year over at GS Reptiles. Thank you so much, Gary, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. Chee! Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Devin.
I'm Teresa, and we are Pragmotors.
We are based in Czech Republic, a small country in the middle of Europe.
We really love animals that revolve around multi-recessive projects, and one of our very favorites is Hypo. We're really looking forward to clutches that are coming this season, and some of those are Hypo Clown, DG Clown, Hypo DG Clown, and one of our all-time favorites, Hypo Puzzle.
Hope you enjoyed the next episode on Trap Talk, the greatest reptile network in the world.
If you guys want to see next level cutting edge ball python projects, please make sure you head over to their Instagram to follow all their amazing work, and head over to their website to see what they could possibly have available by heading over to progmorphs.com. Thank you again, Devin and Teresa, for bringing some of the biggest heat worldwide in the ball python game. If you want to be organized, if you want to be cutting edge in the ball python game, then you don't want to miss this. Shout out to today's sponsor, and that's Clutch, #1 ball python organization app in the game. No better place to start off than by using this app. Clutch is an organization app that helps you organize all your ball python projects. It also helps your peers and your fellow community members look at what you possibly have coming for the upcoming ball python season, what you have currently available on Morph Market. It's so awesome to be ahead of the game by using organization app like Clutch. Thank you so much, the entire Clutch team, amazing team over at Clutch. If I were you, I would head over to Clutch's Instagram account, and I would also head over to their website, try it out, see how it works for you. But especially if you're just now coming into this, before you build your reptile collection, I would do it organized, and I would do it with Clutch. Thank you, Clutch, for being so amazing. Excited to hear what Clutch has to bring.